I do think it's important that the guests also, they deserve to feel included and informed. Having these features, having the guest profiles, the private chats, shared albums, the flight sharing, we're really creating a community for everyone, even before the wedding begins. We're creating that excitement. And I think technology really now is going to reshape the wedding journey from how it's planned to how it's experienced and also how it's remembered.
Hey there, and welcome to the Event Crushed podcast. Each week, we'll be chatting about all things wedding industry, entrepreneurship, and how to crush it in life and business. I'm so glad you're here. Now, let's dive into this week's episode. If you have ever found yourself scrambling to update 200 wedding guests about a last-minute timeline change or wishing there was a better way to handle RSVP reminders, you are going to love today's conversation. I'm joined by Kerry Barrett, founder of The Wedding App, a brilliant new tool designed to improve the guest experience and make life easier for wedding planners and couples alike. Kerry has over a decade of experience in the events world, spanning celebrity events, corporate productions, and weddings. After navigating both personal challenges and logistical headaches during wedding season, she realized the wedding industry was missing a modern, tech-forward solution for guest communication and coordination. So she built one. We're diving into how the Wedding App is more than just a wedding website alternative. It's a private social platform for guests, a streamlined tool for planners, and a smart way to elevate destination weddings, photo sharing, RSVP tracking, and more. And before we dive in, just a quick reminder that the Book More Weddings Summit is coming up on August 18th through the 22nd. If you're a wedding pro who wants to level up your bookings and marketing strategies, you can still sign up for free at eventcrush.com/summit. Hello, Kerry. Welcome to the show. I am so excited to just get to know you more and chat with you about the Wedding App that you have started. And I would love it if you could just give us a bit of a background on yourself and what led you to starting the Wedding App.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here. So I am from Charlotte, North Carolina, and I've been spending the last 12 years working in events, working with major corporations and celebrities across entertainment, sports, and technology. During the pandemic, I pivoted and got into wedding planning. And I loved it. I started my own LLC, and I was so excited to help bring couples' visions to life. Unfortunately, during that time, my father unexpectedly passed while I was working a wedding. So I did decide to step away from the wedding industry and return back to corporate events. During that time, I was going to a lot of conferences, and I noticed that new technology was emerging, and apps were helping attendees connect with each other, being able to communicate with other exhibitors, getting real-time notifications when the keynote speaker is going on stage. And I just thought, this is brilliant. I wish that the wedding industry had technology like that. And on top of it, that year, all my friends were getting married, and I couldn't keep track of which weddings I was RSVPing to, which hotels I booked. I was curious who I was going to be there, any old college friends I was going to see. I was a bridesmaid in a friend's wedding, and my significant other was going to be left by himself all day long while we did hair and makeup. So I was asking her, like, hey, are there any guys that he can go golfing with? And then she seemed annoyed at me for even asking. And once I became a bride myself, I understand why. And then I just kept thinking, like, I wish there was an app so all the guests could be able to coordinate with each other without bothering the bride. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much what led me into kind of wanting to get involved in creating my own app. I did end up reaching out to a few of the other conference apps asking if they could build something like this for weddings, but they seemed to fall short where it really wasn't hitting the personal touches of weddings, like the wedding party or the registries and everything that weddings entail. And then my boyfriend and I moved in together. We're talking about our future. So selfishly, I'm like, I want this app and I want it for my wedding, and we're going to make this happen.
Right. Wow. That's amazing. That's so cool that you saw like this gap in the market in the wedding industry and you were able to fill that with the Wedding App. Can you give us like, just for anyone, because for me, like this is totally new to me. I had never heard of this before you reached out. And now I'm like so excited to learn more about it and potentially use it. So for anyone else like me who's like, what is the wedding app? Can you just give us a quick overview of like the different features and just how it works?
Yeah. So the wedding app is an alternative for a wedding website. And it includes everything a wedding website would have, your schedules, your accommodations. It collects your RSVPs, but it's also a private interactive social platform for everyone invited to your weddings. And it's also a really helpful tool for wedding planners to not only be able to communicate with everybody, but to provide their clients this luxury interactive experience. So for the app itself, each guest will have a profile visible towards the other guests. So you can see who's coming. So names now become faces. You have communication platforms where you can have private feeds similar to like Instagram messaging. You can do group messaging. Say a wedding planner wants to get a hold of the bridesmaids to remind them of when photos are being taken, or family members just want to chat with each other about where they're going to get dinner the night before. And then there is the community feed, which is everybody who's invited for the wedding. It's similar to like a Facebook feed where people can be asking each other what everyone's doing during downtime, what hotel everyone's going to be staying at. And then you'll have those real-time alerts for wedding planners to be able to send push notifications, to send reminders to all the guests. For example, say the shuttle buses have arrived, or if you want to be more creative and say like, hey, welcome to this new city. We're so excited to have you. It's really great for destination weddings too, making the guests feel more included and up to date with any kind of changes that are happening. There's also flight sharing, which I know we can get into that a little bit later because it's one of my personal favorites for destination weddings. And there's also shared photo albums. So everyone can share their photos in one platform. I know there's already apps out there that exist for the sharing photos. This truly is an all-in-one platform.
It sounds incredible. Like I am already thinking of all the different ways that this could have helped me with weddings in the past. And like I even just recently, there was one last year where we actually moved the wedding day up. It was a smaller wedding and it was a crazy situation. But being able to like message all of the guests and be like, hey, this is what's happening. And then I had another one this year that a few months before the wedding, they decided to bump the time of the wedding up an hour. You know, it's like after all the invites have gone out, after the guests have already kind of gotten all that information, and trying to communicate with 200 guests that like the time is changing can be a little bit tricky. So having like one place where you can message all of the guests sounds amazing.
Yeah. And that's like one thing I realized when I realized there was a significant difference of corporate events and wedding planning. And in corporate events, we really were focused on the guest experience and making sure that they're informed. And for wedding planning, we were really focused on communicating with the couples and the vendors and handling all the operations and logistics of the wedding. But I realized wedding planners don't necessarily communicate with all the guests. And if the couple isn't a professional event planner and know how to communicate with their guests to tell them these alerts, or maybe they're building out their website and it's not fully built out yet, and you still see that coming soon page that we always see someone has. And once they finally update the website, there's no way of notifying the guests of, hey, wait, now we added the time, or, oh, actually, there is a welcome party. We want to inform people. Maybe that wasn't built out yet. So people are missing a lot of information. And kind of going back to what you're saying, like that real-time communication, like for those changes that if something needs to be bumped up, my wedding, everyone's flights got canceled. So
Oh no.
we also, similar situation, we had to move some things around, change some times. And instead of having to worry about texting everybody, I was able to notify everybody in real time through one post. So nobody was really left in the dark.
That is so cool. So you've talked about a couple, like I mentioned, a couple personal challenges that I've experienced with guest communication and how this app could have been really beneficial. But can you share like any other specific examples that you have seen or heard of that people were able to use the app to kind of like prevent a bigger issue?
Oh, yes. Honestly, I think this might be my toxic trait because I love hearing wedding disaster stories. Like, give me the chaos. Tell me everything that went wrong. Like, even if I couldn't make it to the wedding, like what happened? Like what could have changed? And it's not because I like the drama. It's really because I am one of those people that are taking notes of how could I prevent this? I'm all about wanting to prevent fires versus putting them out. And some of the things I've seen, a lot of them are those schedule changes. Many times it's weather delays, or maybe the ceremony was outside and now it has to be relocated inside. So how are we communicating to everyone that we're actually going to change the location of the venue to their indoor space? And I don't know, you're the wedding planner, you're moving things around. You're not going to be standing under the umbrella just directing people where to go, because you're trying to get everything set up too. And we want to make sure that no one's just standing in the rain waiting for them. I had a friend that recently used the app, and her planner had communicated the shuttle times poorly because the ceremony started at 5:30, and she said shuttles were running from 4:30 to 5:30. She probably should have said it like the last shuttle was like 5:15. So people were standing at the pickup location at 5:30 thinking they're getting the last shuttle. But they were, when I saw the app going wild, people were like, wait, we're still here. Like, is the bus coming back for us? So they were able to tell the bus company to go back for that last group. But it's not even just communication. It's also access too. I had someone recently tell me that he traveled for a wedding and he didn't bring the invitation with him, because who brings an invitation to the wedding? And he forgot what time everything was at. He's like, oh, well, I'll just go back and look up the wedding website. But it was password protected. So he couldn't get into the wedding details. So he was scrambling around trying to text people, trying to confirm what time he needs to be there at. And he doesn't want to bother the couple and ask them. So having that access, especially as an out-of-towner, being able to communicate with someone, or at least know someone else that's going to be there, is very helpful to have technology like that.
Yeah, definitely. I can totally see that happening, where like, yeah, if you don't have the invite and the password to access, and like just being in that situation of like trying to, navigate that. So how does it work with can you give me like a little bit more detail on how it works with the wedding app? So obviously it's an app that they download, and then how do people like find or access the specific wedding that they're going to?
So they'll need to be invited. So either the couple or wedding planners. And I've been working with lots of wedding planners, especially with getting them larger packages so they can include this with their services for their clients. So step one is building out the event. So even if there is that coming soon page, it's fine, because people can be alerted when that information is going to be released. So they'll build out their event, and then they will invite their guests to that event. And there's 3 ways they can do it. They can do it directly through text messaging, or they can copy a link, send it as an email, but it is a mobile only app, so they'll have to make sure they access it through their phone. Or once an event's created, a QR code's automatically pre-built in, and that's where people can save that QR code and put that on their physical invitation. So similar to what people are doing now with QR codes, they'll get invited, they'll say scan the QR code to RSVP. Once they RSVP, they have full access into the wedding. And even it's split up. I wish I could show you videos on here, but you can see like what weddings you've confirmed and which weddings are still pending. Because there's so many times where I'm like, did I actually RSVP to this wedding? Sometimes I go back to the wedding website and it doesn't tell me if I RSVP'd. One time I actually RSVP'd myself twice because it didn't show you've already registered. So it does separate the two, and it helps like notify you of which ones you still need to get back to. And you'll have like the basic information of like the time and location, but you won't get that full experience of like that communication, the shared albums and everything until you RSVP, yes, that you're going to the wedding, and then you get that full experience. So yeah, so it is invite only. People can't just search your name. There is a security level to it. But you can make sure that you invite people through those invitations. You can also add plus ones. Maybe you want to send it as a text message. It also works kind of like Evite, so it can connect to your contacts, and you can send it directly to your friends through your contacts. It will instantly show you their names that they've been invited, and you can include those plus ones with them on the app as well.
Okay. I'm just like so intrigued by all of this. So is it primarily it's used for couples and wedding planners? Is there any other kind of like integration? Like would any other vendor types be involved in the app at all, would you say?
I've seen a lot of venues interested. I think mostly because a lot of venues also have on-site coordinators, and they've been really interested in the tool, especially that communication aspect of if there is a venue switch, if there's a shift in the schedule, if maybe they're coordinating the shuttles. There is also a vendor page right now where similar to like how Instagram is, where people are posting where they bought their dress from, who their florist was, who their planner was. There is now a vendor tab where couples can showcase who all their wedding vendors are. So maybe you went to a wedding and you really loved that band and you want to book that band for a future event. You can have quick access to all those vendors. Later on, I would love to create a version of the app where there's that vendor communication. So their schedules will be different than what the guests see, and they can be like more alerting each other of like when the load in time and load out time is, but not there yet. It is still in the works though.
Yeah, that's so cool. So I imagine you behind the scenes have like, new things coming and new features that you're working on and like always trying to make it better. That's awesome.
I love feedback. Anytime people have feedback, reach out anytime.
For sure. Yeah. Okay. So you had mentioned destination weddings earlier and flight schedules and all that. So can we come back to that a bit? I would just love to learn more about how the wedding app can simplify things for destination weddings and how you've seen it used in that scenario.
Yeah, absolutely. This is why I love the app. The flight sharing feature is my favorite. So the guests can share what flights they're on, visible towards all the other guests. They can share what times, what airlines it is. And it's really great for people that want to coordinate travel. Maybe people are landing around the same time. It's also great to know if people are coming in early or staying later, especially for those destination weddings. Maybe people are staying for that brunch the next day, or maybe people are coming in a day earlier because maybe someone wanted to go hiking or they want to explore the town that they're in. Because for these destination weddings, people are taking time off work. They're spending a weekend with people they don't know very well. So by being able to provide a platform where everyone can feel more connected and communicate with each other and kind of going back to like figure out what they're doing during downtime, figure out maybe what pool everyone's staying at. For the community features, people can share the resort map directly in the app. They can create vision boards. Maybe they have a certain theme that they're going with. I went to a wedding and the theme was mountain chic. And I had no idea what mountain chic meant. So I wore this like dark green emerald dress. I'm like, I look like the woods. This is great. Everyone was like in floral dresses. And I was like the only one in a solid color. I'm like, I definitely missed the assignment on this one. And I wish I was able to communicate that with other people. I also went to an Indian wedding for my first time, and I was asking my significant other, like, what's the dress code? What am I supposed to wear? I know it's colorful. Should I wear red? He's like, yeah, no problem. Like, wear whatever you want. I'm like, but am I allowed or should I dress like my own attire? And to find out, you're not supposed to wear red to Indian weddings. Recently learned that. But also, I wish I could ask the other guests, like the other girls, what are they wearing? And my husband was a groomsman, so I didn't really have anyone to get ready with. I was kind of just hanging out in the hotel room by myself. So being able to have the ability and accessibility to kind of figure out my own plans and pros and cons. I'm my own worst devil's advocate here, but that app is very individualized. So that does mean each individual person would have to have a profile, download the app to have access to everything. The good thing is everyone has access. So you're not relying on your significant other to know everything. And if they're anything like my significant other, they're just more like, go with the flow. I guess we'll figure out when we go. But like, I want to know how to pack. I want to know what I'm going to do when I get there, how long everyone's staying. So by having that ability has been very helpful as well.
Yeah, I can't get over the whole like guest communication feature and just being able to share things like, you know, what to wear, what not to wear. Of course, like I do so many outdoor weddings. So it's like, you know, don't wear the stilettos. So even just like reminders, because I feel like when it's on the wedding website, I don't know, wedding websites, I feel like leave a lot to be desired. Like I haven't found, I've tried a lot of different ones. And I don't know, I feel like a lot of them are lacking a little bit. But yeah, a lot of times the guests will go look at it initially and then never come back to it. And so they miss a lot of things. And like you said, a lot of times they're not even fully like fleshed out and updated in the beginning, and then things get added later on, but there's no notification saying like, hey, it's been updated. Mm-hmm. And then it can be so overwhelming for the couple, because then it's on them to communicate with every single guest. Hey, head to our wedding website. There's more information. And that is something that like as a planner is a little bit hard to navigate, because I feel bad when my couples have to communicate these updates with their guests, but like I also don't really have a way to do it. Mm-hmm. So this is like the perfect way to bridge that gap. So one question that I am just curious about is, do you foresee this ever being ever opening it up to other events beyond just weddings? Like, could this be used for other types of events too?
Right now, I am solely focused on the wedding industry. There are similar apps specifically for larger events and larger conferences. I think what was lacking was that the weddings, and having a centralized place for all your weddings to be at. So many times people are using many different Wedding Wire, Zola, I can't remember what site they're on. This is a great way where, say you have 5 weddings coming up next year and everyone's using the wedding app, everything can live in one place. So I really am trying to simplify that experience of being able to have like your all-in-one platform for this.
Yeah, totally. So as a planner, can you just explain a little bit more how it would work from my perspective with the app? So I can basically have like all of my couples set up with their own account, and then like I can access all of it.
Yes. So for wedding planners, I have packages at discounted rates, because I want my planners to profit too. Like, we're all in this together. You guys are working directly with the clients. So it's a great way for planners, one, to add value to their services and to upsell their services. So as a planner, what I would do is I would build out the basics. You build out their name, you have the dates, you have the location, it's done. Now step 2 is inviting the couple to their own wedding on their own platform. That way they're involved with the wedding as well. They are able to communicate. And then you're able to add them as admins. So you can add as many admins as you want. If you want to have maid of honor, a family member also involved that's helping out. Maybe someone wants to take on the role of the push notifications, or many times couples are responsible of building their own websites. So they're talking about their love story, how they met. They're the ones picking out the photos they want to share with their guests. They're the ones assigning who the bridesmaids and groomsmen are. So it really is collaborative. You're able to give them this platform. They'll build from it. They'll send their invites out. And you can also help ensure them more of like a stress-free experience by, if there is any communications, or if there is shuttles or there's notifications, that you'll be able to help manage that and help everything run more smoothly for them, for their experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. That sounds so cool. I can't wait to look more into this. And of course, I'm going to link all the information in the show notes so everyone who's listening can check it out too.
I know you had also asked if it's used for more than just weddings. While it is focused in the wedding industry, I have been working with a lot of wedding planners and wedding business coaches that are using this platform for their summits and their retreats. So we are sticking in within the wedding industry, and we've been using retreats where 80 to 200 wedding planners are all coming together for education and breakout sessions, and using this experience for them as well for the app. So it can be used for other events, but still sticking within the wedding industry. Yeah.
Okay. That makes so much sense. It seems like that's another great use for it too.
Thank you.
What other, just because you're in the tech world, are there other like trends that you're seeing right now in wedding tech? And if so, could you share about any things that you've been seeing lately in that realm?
Yeah, I definitely think there's a big shift towards more of like that personalization and more being like guest-centered design. I think a lot of people, we had talked about the apps for the photo sharing, which is great. those are awesome. Being able to have access to everyone's photo. I think that is something that is very tech focused right now. But we're also seeing a lot of people being more creative in their seating chart designs and giving people an experience, whether it's different kind of entertainment the second you walk in. Maybe it's shifting up the order of the wedding itself. So I definitely am seeing a lot more fun wedding trends. I love following different Instagram pages as well to see these new intricate designs people are doing. I know couples want weddings to feel like them, but they also want their guests to feel good and enjoy the experience as well.
You've mentioned the guest experience quite a bit. And as a planner, like that's something that's very important to me. When I have a consult or like a discovery call with a couple and they talk about the importance of the guest experience to them, like it always makes me so happy because not everyone is as focused on that. You know, some people are like, it's our wedding, it's all about us, and they're not thinking about their guests so much. So I love that like this app really does focus on the guest experience. And I would love to hear any other ways that like planners, like how can planners use this app to kind of think more like a guest, and how can technology like the wedding app help us to just improve that guest experience?
Yeah, with today's weddings, like people are flying from across the country, across the world. I'm seeing weddings in Greece now, which I wish I could afford to go to. That'd be amazing. And I do think it's important that the guests also, they deserve to feel included and informed. So having these features, so having the guest profiles, the private chats, shared albums, the flight sharing, we're really creating a community for everyone, even before the wedding begins. We're creating that excitement. And I think technology really now is going to reshape the wedding journey from how it's planned to how it's experienced and also how it's remembered. So even after the wedding is over, the page won't disappear completely. There is another feature where it'll go into a forever after album. So even after that wedding's over, if you still want to connect with those guests or going back to those wedding vendors, if you want to get a hold of those wedding vendors, you'll still have access into it. Now, going back into the guest experience may not be for everybody, but it is kind of fun. So those guest profiles, the people can share as much information as they want. They can share what city they're from. So maybe you'll see that you have someone that's flying in from your same town. You can see what school they went to. Maybe someone went to a similar college as you. You can also have relationship status on there. So maybe you're trying to set up one of your single friends at the weddings. They can also snoop on who else is going to the wedding. And as far as other features that wedding planners can use, again, may not be for everybody, but there is seating chart available in the app. Many times we do have those last minute changes and we need to update a name. So that can be updated in real time. Something fun that we did with our wedding is we released the seating chart a week before the wedding. That way the guests were able to already snoop at who was at their table and see who's who. And it created those icebreakers, especially at the welcome party, because people are like, oh, we're going to be sitting together tomorrow. This is great. Can't wait. We're bonding. So it really does create that more like personalization for the wedding.
Yeah, that's so fun. I've never seen that before where like the seating chart was released in advance. So people, yeah, like that's such a great idea. Cause then like you're saying the night before at the rehearsal or their welcome dinner, finding someone at their same table, it's like they're already having that connection point, which is just super fun. And I was so curious when you were talking and then you said it, I was like, oh, I wonder if anyone's ever used this like a dating app, like had their, relationship status as single and then like looking at who the other single people are. Oh, that's so funny.
A little matchmaking service. And the next couple will just use that app for their wedding because they met on the wedding app.
Yep. Oh my gosh. I love it. And I do love, you said this before, but the fact that you can put your vendor team like on display in there is fantastic because then, if somebody loved the DJ or the band, it just simplifies it a little bit. They can just look on there and know who to reach out to.
It really does. I went to a wedding in Mexico, and that's why I used the band as my example. I loved the band. It was amazing. And then my best friend was getting married in the same area a year later. And I told him, like, you've got to book this band. This is the best band I've ever I've seen. Like, you got to get it. Then I was trying to reach out to the other bride. I'm like, hey, who is your contact information? And She's like, yeah, I'll get back to you. And then I follow up again. So I'm like, I just want quick access to their vendors because I love it. And maybe it's my event brain mind that I just love all the vendors.
Yes. Okay. And then one other thing I just wanted to touch on, because you've mentioned it a few times, and I think this is also another fantastic feature, but just the photo sharing and the guest albums, because like you said, there are other apps that do that. But again, I've never found one that I like really loved. And I love that this is all streamlined within one app rather than having to like have this and then do the photo sharing. Can you share a little bit more about how the photo sharing works and like what that experience is like for guests and the couple receiving the photos?
So as soon as you get into the app, that is one of the widgets and one of the features, the photo sharing album. So if the planners want to help and kind of break it down, like day 1, day 2, welcome party, reception, ceremony, or say family members just want to have their own family album of them at the wedding, they could also create their own albums. As an admin, you have the rights to restrict if you want people to have access to share or add. Maybe there's that one cousin you don't trust who's going to post what in the album. So if you want to block them from adding anything, you can. But it's really a great tool because I think while people are at the wedding, they're having so much fun. They're not thinking about, ooh, let me scan this QR code while I'm here. Like, I got drinks in my hand. I'm chatting to people I haven't seen in a while. I'll get to it later. And then again, it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. You're like, oh, wait, how do I share those pictures? Or after the wedding's over, the couples can remind the guests, hey, don't forget to add your pictures in this album. So now they're traveling back home and now they have time to sort through what pictures they think is appropriate to share. Don't worry, you can delete whatever you need to delete as an admin. We got that feature updated. But no, it really is to help simplify everything. Another really good feature is those automatic text reminders to RSVP. So if the guests or admins wish to send an invite through their contacts to their phone, it's instantly going to link to their phone number that they've been invited. So from that feature, you can send automated reminders like, hey, don't forget RSVP is the deadline's coming up soon. And it'll come from the wedding app. So it's not necessarily like that the couples are nagging them. It can be like, ooh, the technology needs to know or else I'm not going to make it. So it kind of alleviates pressure off the couples. Like, I'm so tired of blowing this person's phone up, or you can just hit one button, just do it through the app.
That is an amazing feature because that I have seen countless couples just stressed out about, the guests who had like the deadline is approaching and still a good number of guests have not RSVP'd. And so they're like scrambling to reach out to everyone. And I hate that for them. Like, no one should have to be doing that in the weeks leading up to their wedding. People are just not great at RSVPing, but this automatic text reminder feature takes so much pressure off. And then it's like, it's not coming from them. Like, it's from the app. Yeah. And so I love that.
The app is going to remove you if you don't RSVP on this date. It doesn't actually remove you. You'd have to remove them yourself, but they don't know that.
Yeah. Put the pressure on. That is fantastic. So one thing, I guess the only pushback that I could think of for this app would be, are there situations where there's older, people who are invited to the wedding who don't want to download an app? I'm just curious if you've had any pushback in like those situations and how do you work around that? If there's people who aren't either able to or wanting to have this app on their phone.
So through the app, you'll be able to export your RSVPs into an Excel sheet. So say there is a handful of people, or maybe your niece is underage and doesn't have a phone, but you need to add them. They could manually add those handful of names to that Excel sheet. So you do have a more accurate number for those few one-offs. I would say for elderly, while yes, I had to download the app on my grandfather's phone, I was telling him all the benefits of having the app, because this way the app can send those reminders like, hey, don't forget the ceremony is at 5. We really hope everyone can arrive by 4:30. So it's those quick reminders, or else they're going to be leaning on their grandchildren or their kids of asking, where do I need to be? What am I supposed to do? So it is a really great tool for them to have access to all that information too.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I just know like I have grandparents in my life who are, this is, different, but my daughter, my 9-year-old daughter just got this it's like a watch phone, and she actually had a different one before, and the new one makes anyone who wants to text her have to download an app. And my husband's grandma was like, yeah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I just won't text her. We were like, okay, whatever. So, I mean, I get it, but it's nice that there is at least like the workaround for the RSVPs
Yes,
and everything.
there is.
Okay, well, we're getting close to wrapping up here, but I would love to ask you, like, if you have any advice that you would give to planners and other vendors who are hesitant to adopt like new technology, especially in today's world, there's just constantly new apps and new programs and new technology coming out. And I think it can be overwhelming for those of us in the wedding industry who like want to keep up with it all, but we also don't know what's good and what's going to be a waste of time. So I'm just curious if you have any advice for those of us who might be struggling with that.
My advice would be to start small. Pick one tool that you think will solve a pain point in your workflow. Maybe it is the communication, maybe it's RSVP management, and test it out. I don't think tech is here to replace anybody. It's really here to support them and help you do what you do and put less stress off you and less stress on your clients as well.
Yeah, that's such good advice. And it's so true. Like it's just here to support us and help us. Like you said, start small, pick one thing that you can try out. And then, and if that thing's not good, then try something else.
And when it comes to the wedding app, also, I'm happy to work with wedding planners. I'm happy to give them even a free credit, test it out, test it on a client, test it for themselves. And if it's something that they like and they think can be very useful, then we can talk about packages or if they want to do one-offs with their clients. But I'm very much I want them to experience it and see all the benefits it has for them as well.
Awesome. Okay. I love that. So, all right. Well, I know that those listening are like, well, where can I learn more about this awesome app? So where can everyone go to learn more about the wedding app, sign up and get more information and also just connect with you online?
So I'm very active on Instagram. You can find me at The Wedding App USA. I love connecting with other planners, other couples. So feel free to DM me anytime if you want direct messaging. I also have my website, thewedding-app.com.
Okay, perfect. Well, again, I will share all of that in the show notes. And thank you again, Kerry, for sharing about this awesome app that you've created. I can't wait to personally dive in more and check it out. And just thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of the Event Crushed podcast. I hope you found value in this episode, and if you did, please consider sharing it with a wedding industry friend. We also hope you'll consider leaving a rating or review for the show to help other listeners find it. This podcast is edited and produced by Ace Sound Design. If you're looking to elevate your audio experience, their info can be found in the show description. As always, thank you for listening, and please connect with us on Instagram if you haven't already. Now get out there and crush it.